Good evening. I know that you guys started with me today. So, Michael, please start and introducing yourself and your company.
Absolutely. My name's Michael Moore. I'm a maritime lawyer. I very briefly started out in New York back in the day, and by way of 10 years in Saudi Arabia in 1980. Went Holland and Knight, which is a small law firm you may have heard of. I was executive partner for 11 years. I was on the board for 20, and that's stayed at 23 years. Then one day I woke up and started on permanent work, 2004. That's pretty much my life story. It's only two perks. And with that said, that's all there is.
Okay. Hi, Lisa Burbett. I'm with Bank of America. I am in year 42. I will be with Bank to Bank 42 years in October. I've been in the yacht business since 1989, so I'm in year 37. And I'm a product specialist for yacht lending with the bank in the private wealth space, supporting both the private bank and Merrill Lynch clients.
Hi, John Drobby, oversee yacht insurance. And the junior year, I only have 20 years of yacht insurance experience.
And he was a founder.
Yes, sir, man. Okay. We are going to talk all about tax, insurance, and structure. First question. Owners today have access to more information than ever before, but are they actually becoming more strategic in how they structure ownership, or are many still making decisions without fully understanding the long-term consequences? Who let us answer?
So from our perspective, the answer depends on how large the deal is, kind of. So our sweet spot influence 10 million or greater. We do some between 5 and 10 as well. But the smaller the loan size, the less likely the family is to have like a true family office. So sometimes clients are making decisions without getting all the right providers like Michael and the Johns of the world. So from time to time, we see clients making decisions that are ill-informed because they didn't have the right advisors up front. With the huge deals, our biggest loan we've ever done was $277 million construction loan. So we do very large stuff too. The clients with the huge family offices, multi-billionaires, we don't see them making too many mistakes.
I think in terms of kind of Lisa's interaction with our firm, with our clients, if it's something where they're looking for financing over 10 million to just totally call Lisa. I think our sweet spot in terms of financing is probably the $6 to $10 million range. So we have sources for private lending. But in terms of structure, it always starts with a yacht. Every yacht is like a registered vessel, has to be flag stays. It's just like a lot of the movable assets like planes, all boats, these kind of things have to be registered, have to be licensed. So you're starting with that point. Once you get there, you're looking at a record owner. Below the record owner, somewhere in that pile, there's going to be a real live human being. But you have to start with that, analyze the boat, see what kind of structure works for the client who's presenting themselves. But to your point, I think that I'll call Mr. Hardoff or Saki, it's fine. Sail away into the Med in the summer and the Caribbean in the winter. No problem, that's a standard deal. And then there's everything in between. From all the way up to the publicly traded companies like Carnival, which is, think of it as a massive yacht, because it has lots of owners. Publicly traded companies has lots of owners in that sense. But at the end of the day, it's a boat. All the rules are the same, all the way to the top, all the way to the bottom. And if you kind of just understand your job is to match up what the client wants, what the client needs, make sure you do it the correct way. Everyone, knows that everyone.
Yeah, I think that even though there's all this information at your fingertips from just the internet to ChatGPT and everything, I think owners can come in with an objective, a goal, but they trust us to give them the roadmap of how to get there. It's very rare that they try to one up probably anybody in this room and try to be smarter than them. Where it really gets tricky is with the first-time owners, who are more at the mercy of whoever that individual is normally selling them the boat. And in some cases, obviously there's a massive amount of trust involved in these purchases, and yacht brokers especially, I know this room isn't full of them, but are oftentimes a little bit timid to introduce a new owner to a management company or a maritime attorney or any of these services that will give them a better experience. Last year we did a 50-meter for a guy that bought it in his personal name because his yacht broker told him it was a good idea. You don't need an attorney, you don't need a yacht manager, and so that first experience is the most important, but it's up to all of us to make it an enjoyable experience for an owner if we want to keep them. But ultimately, they'll listen to us once given the opportunity.
And if they got their structure wrong the first time, just restructure it. But
Actually, the buying something in your personal name is probably what you would want if you were representing the other side of the table.
Yeah.
In other words, pretty much at that point, you're committing your net worth. You don't want to do that. You want to have some form of structure that gives you some kind of liability, a limitation of liability, like a LLC, a INC, a CORP, or an LTD, some kind of proper corporate structure. But that's a rule that's never broken. That's like one of those definite no-nos. You don't want to be buying a movable asset that's got no brakes and all these other things that go with the wonderful world of yachting. So it's always going to be in a corporate structure.
Thank you. Another question. How much should internet yacht usage determine the ownership structure from the beginning? For example, private use, charter activity, family use, multiple owners, club models, or fractional ownership? Lisa, please.
So most of our clients do charter periodically, and so where we see clients who maybe restructure wrong, because we're prohibited from giving structure advice other than loan structure. We're not tax attorneys, we're not maritime attorneys, we're not insurance brokers. So when clients ask us about structure, we're always referring them to these guys. Oftentimes though, they already come with their structure in mind. And I think sometimes also what happens with clients is they're not really sure they know how they're going to use the yacht always. So, sometimes they change their minds later on. But so we're fine with chartering, and like where I've had some clients recently where we've had to restructure, meaning the flag state, is clients who didn't think they were going to charter, and then they decided to charter, and with the U.S. flag yacht, you're really limited as to what type of, what nationality your crew can be. So we've had to reflag some yachts recently because clients decided to charter when they initially didn't think they were going to. So we always encourage clients to think through, even when they're building a yacht, think through how you're going to use it, listen to the professionals. And sometimes clients have tried to back us into, what do you see clients doing? Do you think we should do that? We see clients do this, but you need to talk to your professionals because you can have different family dynamics, you can have different usage dynamics, charter, not charter. So, it's really, you really need to be thoughtful, I think, in having conversations with clients, the professionals in the industry, to really uncover what the client's true needs and wants are with respect to the usage of the yacht.
From an insurance perspective, the insurers, I don't want to say don't care, but for the most part, don't necessarily mind where you register the boat, with a few exceptions. Commercially registered boats can be used privately registered boats can be used for charter in most cases. One of the topics of it is fractional or multi-owners. We've seen in recent years a lot of very, very wealthy individuals, families, partner up. Let's get 3, 4 partners, not because we need help buying the boat financially, but it'd be fun to buy a boat with our friends. And insurance companies do have a lot of issues with multiple owners for a boat, a 30-footer, a 300-footer. It can get complicated with 2 to 3, 4 unrelated owners.
I would say that you have 2 of the 3 people up here are the type of people you want to always keep happy on any boat deal. That is, you always want to make sure your insurance people are happy, that your bankers are happy, and your flag state is happy. A lot of times, from a legal point of view, when you look at what's being put in front of you from that perspective, it really kind of informs you as to what advice you want to give the client. And that's going to be, what do you think the flag state would be happy with that? Or you think, does your insurance policy have a clause that says, lots of things of that nature? But it's those 3 groups, the flag state, insurance people, and your bankers, always have to be made happy. And by keeping those people happy, then we also keep the client happy. So that's and you'll get bitten by little clauses that maybe they don't notice, they haven't read. I didn't know that. They don't understand what it means. Named operator versus any licensed master, or a specific name of someone that's in the policy that left their employee a year before. Somehow the name stayed in. You have those kind of things, but always those 3 things. Remember, flag state, insurance, bankers. You're about 90% there, and then you just have to, in the context of those 3 things, have a drill down with the client on what they intend to do with their boat. What do they think? Now, when they change, like in context you mentioned, we can also change.
Yeah.
We can also change course, but sometimes this is going to generate legal fees, costs, banking costs. Nothing's free. So you really do try to do the drill down at the beginning and say, well, what do you want to do? Where are you going to cruise? What is your favorite cruising ground? What are you going to have? Are you going to charter? That's the one they always a little bit. You can get around chartering a little bit these days with bareboat charters. A lot of people use a bareboat charter structure. That requires they've heard that someplace, they've seen it on AI or on the internet. You have to talk to them a little bit about what that means. And a lot of times they hear what it means, they go, I wouldn't be comfortable doing that. So it's a little bit of a interplay as you're trying to figure out what the client has in mind. Yeah.
I think this question is very relevant for Lisa. Then after Lisa, Mark can talk about legal perspective, and John can discuss how insurance policies must align with this question. So there is often a lot of discussion around bonus depreciation, charter structures, and business use models. In reality, how often do owners decide that the confidence burden, restrictions, and operational complexity are simply not worth it or not?
So we do have clients who take advantage of the bonus depreciation structure. It's not the majority of our clients. I had one last year. He paid cash at the end of 2025 because he needed to pay cash and then put the debt on. So we put the debt on in 2026. And in banking, we tell our clients you're not borrowing, you're leveraging, because most of our clients don't actually need to borrow. They're choosing leverage appropriately. They use our money to make more money, essentially. But I would say the majority of our clients don't take advantage of the bonus depreciation structure because there are limitations on how often you can use the yacht, how often you have to charter the yacht. And again, this is where we refer to Michaels and other tax advisors in the world to give, in the maritime industry, to give advice on that. But a lot of our clients don't want to deal with the compliance complexities or, worry about how often they're using their yacht. So we have some, but it's probably maybe 2 in 10 clients who take it, and because bonus depreciation has come and gone over the years. So yeah, it's maybe 1 to 2 in 10 maybe take advantage of it. And I only see the finances, so the finance deal, so there could be more. Yeah.
So what happened? A scenario that I think will enlighten you, and those of you who may not be familiar with bonus depreciation would be a couple that we're dealing with as we look toward the end of the year. In other words, we have a yacht being delivered up in the Netherlands, we have one being delivered in Italy. So the rules are, in the year you bought it. That's the first thing. The big beautiful bill is to encourage people to spend money. And so the first thing is it's got to be spent during the year of acquisition. That's your first thing. You acquired something in a given year. The second thing is you have to put that yacht in service in the year that you intend to take bonus depreciation. So that means if you're taking delivery in the Netherlands or Italy, the two places that are quite normal, you need to be looking at delivery date, delivery penalties for failure to deliver on time. Then you're going to be looking at things like the distance between Via Reggio and Genoa, because that's the place where you'll pick up the carrying vessel. Then you got to factor in that time of year in the Med, which is November, it's winter. You go put it on the carrying vessel, and you need all that has to happen to get it to the United States to put it in service. Remember, it's a U.S. tax bill, so it's a U.S. taxpayer thing. So the U.S. taxpayer may want to do to take advantage of bonus depreciation. We can only take advantage of it if you have what is called a pass-through entity or a disregarded entity. The most common is what is called an LLC, the right kind of LLC that passes through expenses and income and outgo through the disregarded entity to the taxpayer, okay? So you're going to meet all the criteria for qualifying for bonus depreciation. But I think it was alluded to, you can use it personally. Won't be so bad, you won't be getting a delivery until sometime in November. And so you can just have to not use it personally, because it's a business, right? You'll get deductions for personal use. You get business deductions. It's bonus depreciation. It's a depreciation allowance. So you're going to have your charter broker, your yacht manager ready to go. They're going to have a nice chart ready to go. So when that yacht comes off the carrying vessel, it's put into service immediately. And that qualifies, that's the last thing that you do in order to qualify for bonus depreciation, 100% depreciation. But I would say this, and it's probably the reason that Lisa's referring to regarding why you don't do it. Remember, you just reduced your basis on what you pay for the yacht to zero. So if you sell it, you take it from 30 million to zero, ask yourself this question, and your basis is zero, what are you paying taxes on when you sell it? That's right, the answer is you'll be paying full taxes on the amounts above zero. So there's no free lunch. You took it in the year you needed it. It was great for a while, took advantage of. Get that money in your pocket, it beds at Uncle Sam. You take it off your adjusted gross income. But at the end of the day, at some point in the future, you will have to pay that back. It's a beautiful thing, but it works. If you're that kind of person.
The only area we've seen clients slip up, and that is they'll buy the yacht and they'll put it in Michael and Lisa's charter yacht LLC, but they won't actually have charter coverage on their insurance policy. So if the IRS comes knocking, they'll actually check further than the top line of the insurance policy to make sure we actually have charter coverage. It's important. I'm sure Michael did that already.
Well, we had
But we look for that in the insurance policies.
We had a client who took the largest deduction, largest personal deduction. Please don't board out his name once, okay? In the history of the United States of America. And then, now what about who said, that sounds like you were paying attention. Can you use the yacht personally after you've taken bonus depreciation? Who believes you can use the yacht personally? Raise your hand. Don't even raise your hand. God, this is you. Don't worry. Is a business. You can't be seen and filmed in Monaco dancing and enjoying life, because that's not a business use if you're on board your own yacht in Monaco and people are taking, I've seen a couple of influencers around this event, There were the girls for the iPhones. And yeah, he ended up on the internet, and the fear that he met as a lawyer is, did you have it in writing that you told him not once but many times, no personal use? And of course the guy would stand up and say, look, I straightened up. I says, I'm an older guy, I got lots of money, I don't have time. I wanted to go party. This is, you lost your deduction. Yeah, it's like,
So I hate for this. I didn't realize they could never reduce it personally.
well, not till the end of that year.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, that's right. Yeah, yeah. That's why clients who can't take delivery by by the end of 2025.
Right.
Another one was like his yacht slipped into 2026. He's like, I'm not doing it because that means I got to go a whole year without using my yacht. Yeah,
That's right.
So if you take delivery in December of 2025, let's say, and you got no use for a month, right? And then but you still have to meet certain ratios, personal versus business use.
I need to go with 100% business use.
Yeah.
Look, it's 30 days. Take the 30 days out of your life. Go to St. Parks or something.
Yeah. No.
And we don't have then we don't have an argument,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I don't do that thing. And we can use this to do 50% business, a
Yeah.
51 and 49.
Yeah.
I don't do that.
Yeah. Don't just spend even after. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. For that first 30.
For that first year,
Yeah.
when you take that
year.
depreciation, it's all business.
Yeah.
That's why claim your stuff out till the end of the year. In the two cases I mentioned, it starts to get a little nerdy because I got to arrange, I just put a massive delivery penalty in the 2 build contracts. That's because we must have that vessel in the water in Europe in order to get to the carrying vessel. There has to be a carrying vessel. I don't use freight corridors in these circumstances. I use, honest to God, service vessels with an actual schedule. And then you pray to God there's not some weather event or something that'll mess you up. But and then we had worked with the yacht brokers, the charter managers, to make sure there's a charter available and ready to go. So when they come off that carrying vessel, they're going right into charter. Everybody wins.
Thank you so much. So the fourth question is really good cross-funnel question because each speaker can take a different angle. The question is, when ownership structures are not aligned properly from the start, where do the biggest problems usually appear first? Financing, insurance, tax exposure, registry requirements, reflex the tip of the ship. Michael.
But first of all, there's never been a dream that we couldn't structure. I'm just telling you, but maybe the best example, I can't really see very well, but Claire Hagen, raise your hands like to see something moved. Okay, so Claire Hagen's, you heard earlier about Armada Club. It's really the coolest thing I've seen lately. I mean, which is to say, in a long time. And it really is a next level opportunity for. I think she says some of these things from the I don't hear that well anyway, but apparently I have normal hearing. And then they would say, for your age. Wait a second. I thought, oh, what did you just say? But I could hear her. But let me tell you how I envision it worse, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Claire. But she has this structure that effectively makes any yacht that's a member of the club, that any yacht owner who's a member of the club, and I do know this structure pretty well because I've actually tried that out on 5 of my clients, and they all went, yeah, I mean, it's 100% yes. That's a pretty good percentage. But they could go to any city in the world at any time and be a yacht owner because their yacht is back in Miami or back in Fort Lauderdale or is in the club. So that qualifies them to be at the club at Connors or Nims or someplace. It's just a beautiful thing, but it's yet another way of getting people into yachting. In this particular case, you should be a yacht owner as a starting point, but using Sakib's example, we've had We have a client in Croatia, out of Croatia, I should say, the Adriatic, and he's got just an incredibly successful business doing fractional shares or multi-participation shares. That's all he does. That's what he does. He kind of finances the yacht himself, and he sells off interest in the yacht. And there's no more than 6 owners, but those 6 owners use the yacht as they wish, and he manages their usage. It's just a beautiful business model. It works for him. He's done a great job of marketing his business. We've seen a lot of variations on that theme, and it's just yet another model for how we people use yachts. And one of the things I just want to say this because I remember it as being one of those moments. And so there was this billionaire that's having a party, and he has a bunch of boats and not old yachts. He has a couple of yachts, but he has 9 boats at the various sizes and classes, and he has these things in a club structure. So I go inside the house to use the facilities, and I see this gentleman there, and I just asked him, I said, "It's cold outside, are you okay?" And he says, "Yeah, it's a bit chilly, but I'm cool." And I said, "Well, if I can get you anything, let me know." And I introduced myself, and I said, "By the way, what do you do for a living?" He said, "I'm an AC repairman. I'm an air conditioner repairman." I looked at his hands, and I said, I don't think so. Not in the last 40 years anyway." He said, "Well, my kids are learning my company. I'm the largest air conditioning vendor in the world." I said, "Okay, that makes more sense. Now, are you into yachting?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "How do you get into yachting?" He said, "I'm a member of the club." So you just get a yacht whenever you want it. That's the deal. He says, "That's right." I said, "That's cool. But you could buy a yacht." He said, "Yeah, I don't want that. I just want to be able to pick up the phone, call the people on Miami Beach. They'll give me a boat of my needs." And this is the thing that Miami, probably the right part. Exactly.
Yeah, Miami.
So this is the thing. The moment that I loved this guy, I said, "What do you like about yachting?" And this is the thing we talk about all day today. So he says, "I love the crew." He says, "I got 3 adult sons. I'm at my age in life. The crew is fantastic. They ask questions. How did you get to where you've gone? How is it that you do this? What have you done?" Yeah, and he said, "I love it. I feel like they're sincere. They know every want that I have." And it's like perfect service. I said, "The yacht?" He says, "I don't really focus on the yacht so much. They all work for me. It's the crew." Yeah. But anyway, I want to say that because it's been kind of a theme I've heard kind of coming and going throughout the day. And it's very true. It's the crew.
So we are 2 minutes.
The question was about when does structure? Yeah. So we find out that the structure was wrong when the client comes to us and says, "My American attorney, my insurance broker, and has told me my structure is wrong. I need to change it." So usually it's a flag state change. Either they're going for, or they want to change their endorsement. Different flag states have different rules and regulations, which I don't know, which is why these guys are around. So we do 2 or 3 flag state changes a year, which is, we close about 18 deals a year, but we do 2 or 3 flat state changes a year with clients who either structure a bit wrong in the first place, or have decided to change the usage, or based on size of the yacht and their intended usage, the one flag state is preferential to another. This yachting business is very complicated, which is why we have all these great people in the room who help us as bankers stay in trouble, and our clients. So that's what we find out when we make a change in our loan structure to accommodate the change they need to make in their ownership structure or flat state.
The insurance side will accommodate pretty much any ownership structure. What's changed recently is, some of you may have heard of the principle of the P&I Club, a liability club that's across the world. They were created on the commercial side, oil tankers, cruise ships, cargo boats. And about 15 years ago, they crept into private yachts where we can get $500 billion, $1 billion of liability. given recent nuclear verdicts, particularly in the United States, where a $2 billion lawsuit in France is 20, 30, 50 million in the United States, there is a lot more scrutiny from European insurers, liability insurers, for anything attached to the U.S. now. U.S. crew, flag, mooring, navigation. So that's getting a little bit more complicated, but otherwise, you can accommodate pretty much any charge.
Okay.
Your last question, please short answer because she's looking for me.
We're getting the hook.
Yeah, I don't. You want this question? That's what.
It's like the Oscars or this. Yeah.
So the question is, what does smart ownership actually look like in 2026, Lisa?
Oh, that's whatever they say, whatever you said.
So here, okay, Michael.
I just think it's hard to predict. I think that, there are a lot of things out there that are called ownership.
Like,
And it's, there's, the three things you got to think about are possession, ownership, and title. They're three different things. But all of those walls between those concepts, those three separate concepts are falling down. That's how normal sort of charters, the get around is the bareboat charter. We've seen an explosion of that in almost all markets that we operate in. But at the end of the day, no matter what happens to that level, the bankers will not record a mortgage except in a jurisdiction where that mortgage is enforceable. All mortgages, all liens that protects their interest are enforceable as of the law that the place, the time, the place that the lien was recorded. So, for example, if it's Cayman Islands, it would be enforceable, created at the time to be an enforceable lien interest. In other jurisdictions, it's the same with maritime liens for seamen and for wages and personal injuries. It's where the thing occurred. But for lending, it's usually the recordation in the flag state. And then you have to look at the policy of insurance here, and because of the laws that apply to that policy, and make sure you're within all the limitation of that's a contract, so it's a limitation of. So I think to your point, so keep it there may be narrower geographical limits. I think underwriters understand that probably the worst place to go is cruising today might be Strait of Hormuz. You want to make sure you're covered. Yeah, but your policy and you see it's all funds. But I mean, you have to read the contract is what that's about. Read it. You never really, because when you took out the policy, the Gulf of Oman might have been kind of a cool looking place to go, but stuff happens. So you have to look at your policy. And as I said before, I repeat, insurance, keep them happy. Bankers, keep them happy. Keep your flag state happy.
so I'll cancel the Straits of Hormuz family vacation for this time.
Not good.
Thank you all so much. Shakit, thank you. That was wonderful. We appreciate your decades of knowledge.